Okay. Hi, Audrey. So you've been coaching with me for 6 months, and we've just finished the 6 months. And what I wanted to ask you, if you could maybe share just in like one sentence or two sentences a little bit about your role and the countries that you work with, like continents maybe that you work with, and why you came to coaching.
So I am a product leader for a health tech company, and I am based in Tel Aviv and working with stakeholders largely in the United States and parts of Western Europe. And I came to coaching because I felt that I had a very unhealthy relationship with my work and was not prioritizing myself effectively, even within my day-to-day work, prioritizing things effectively, to be the best version of myself and to get to the level that I wanted to get to at work. So I felt that there were a lot of ways that I could improve my day-to-day relationship with what I was doing at work, but also how I was engaging with myself, communicating with myself, treating myself to have a better impact both on my work and the team that I'm leading.
Thanks for sharing that. And what's been valuable around about how you're working now with the different stakeholders? I mean, your stakeholder map is huge. You can get lost in it. So you really are working with a really lot of people and juggling a lot. What's changed about your working and how you show up with your team and also with the teams in the different countries that you mentioned?
Yes, the stakeholder map is overwhelming and it continues to grow. So that's it's not getting any simpler. I think a lot of things have changed for the better since I engaged on this this coaching journey. I think one of the big things that I've taken away is this idea of shared leadership and shared problem solving, and bringing that element of even the weekly or biweekly coaching sessions that I had with you into my conversations with my team and with my various stakeholders. So thinking and coming with a bit more thoughtfulness into my meetings with the various stakeholders and using mindfulness to put myself in their shoes, to have a better understanding of their perspective and how I can frame issues, challenges, opportunities, whatever it may be, with that perspective in mind. And taking that time to pause and be thoughtful has been incredibly valuable. And I think also tied to mindfulness and what we learned, or what I learned in our sessions together, of approaching things with curiosity and coming in not to any challenge or situation, not blaming myself or thinking, what could I have done better, or where did I mess up, or who is at fault here and how do we solve this, but asking more open-ended questions about, what happened, and being just a bit more curious about how this could be a learning opportunity for me and the broader team. And I think it's created a better culture across the team, which is global. And I think it's also led to more effective problem solving at the end of the day, which has been really great.
Yeah. So what I like about you is that you're always thinking into the future and, what could be helpful, what could be valuable. And I'm just curious if you want to share anything about what you shared with me around your process around the 2024 planning and how that's changed to how you would have done it in the past. If that's something that you would, because I think everybody's doing planning, right? And I hope people are.
trying to find time to fit it in.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that is always easy to push down the road, to kick the can down the road when it comes to the bigger picture strategic thinking and longer term planning. And that's certainly something that I've done in the past, of just tackling the day to day or what's happening next week and not thinking longer term. So it was something that I I knew I wanted to be very intentional about and focus on. So I think talking about that with you helped me hold myself accountable to say, okay, I want to do this and I'm going to make sure that I do it. And thinking about how to block the time on my calendar, what time of day, coming up with a plan. When am I going to do this? How am I going to do it? And making sure that I don't let it slip and don't let other things, eat away at that time. So setting up the boundaries there was really important. And I think also changing my mindset about it, that it's not this task that I need to complete in 1 hour and cross off the to-do list, but it's actually an ongoing effort and sort of work stream that to be effective, will sort of always be there. And that the best way to approach it was also with that shared leadership mindset of not one task to complete in a silo, but as something to think about on my own, and then come to my team to get their thoughts, and to do that in a one-on-one format, to speak with each one of them individually and explain, this is what I'm trying to do. This is why I think it's important. What do you think? What do you think is important? They're much closer to elements of the work than I am or will ever be. So they have knowledge and expertise that I wanted to soak up in those sessions and really understand what am I missing? Where are the blind spots? What's top of mind for them? And incorporate that into the longer term vision.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing with a lot of the leaders that I'm coaching is that they don't always make that time. And the inclusive leadership that you really are demonstrating is it motivates and it engages people because they feel really included in the process. So really well done for that. Yeah. There's another example that you mentioned that this happens with everybody in leadership, is that things go wrong. That's part of the norm, right? Not everything is always perfect, and things go wrong and things need to be solved. And so I was wondering if you would share what's changed for you as well, since you've brought in more mindful leadership into your approach. When somebody comes to you and says, Audrey, there's a problem and there's a lot of emails flying, like, what do you do? Because before, if you don't mind me sharing, I know this used to really stress you out. And that's part of what I understood you meant by unhealthy, and you wanted to meet work in a better way. And, so what happens when things go wrong? How do you meet that today?
I think a few things are different than it was in the past. First, I try not to panic. I try not to have that be my first reaction. Hopefully I won't panic at all. But when I see an email with the red exclamation point, urgent, something went wrong, something broke, something big or major happened, to just take a breath, be curious about it. What happened? I'm interested to learn. Read through it, probably read through it multiple times to really make sure that I'm understanding what's happening, and really come up with the initial set of questions that I have. Not, okay, something happened. Did I do something wrong? Did someone on the team mess up? Who's at fault here? Get into action mode and try to pause a little bit and not step on the gas right away, and to think before acting. And then I would say the next big thing that changed is, in the spirit of not taking it all on my shoulders as something I need to solve by myself, and start to strategize, okay, what's the game plan here? How do we fix this? To say, instead, try to calm everyone down as well, and to say, okay, let's all get on a call, or we have this forum later today with the right stakeholders. Let's talk through the issue and really understand what happened, and not jump into problem solving mode. Certainly don't go into blame, and just assess the situation together and have a collective response as well, and a way to address it.
Yeah, and for anybody that may be listening to this recording, this takes time and patience and practice that you've been doing over the last few months, Audrey. This curiosity has grown. I remember you saying to me, you always talk about being curious, but how do you be curious? So there's a gap between what we think and how we actually behave. And so that's why sometimes coaching takes 6 months and it's not like 2 months, because the mindset shift starts and then you want to see it showing up in the behavior. And what I also appreciate so much about you, and what people don't know about mindfulness, is that it doesn't mean you're not going to panic or you're not going to get upset about things. That still happens. And the resilience piece is, how quickly do I come back to center? How quickly do I actually calm down from when I see those red exclamation marks? And I breathe and say, okay, let me understand what's going on now, and what the game plan is, what I can do, and how quickly, like, what do we need to do? And bringing your curiosity to it is a complete mindset shift to, oh gee, what have we done wrong now?
Yes.
Yeah. So another important thing that I wanted to include here before we finish is, I know that after we'd been coaching for about 4 months, you started taking the Mindful Leadership online program. And that's like a top up I give to all my clients so that they can actually have me with them and have some of the practices with them. So I'm just wondering if there's something from the program that you actually wanted to share with people listening, anything that could be valuable, that it could be a mix between the coaching and the program, the online asynchronous program that you've been taking.
Yeah, I think there were a few things. There were some nice short sessions that I think are very easy to digest in a very busy day, to just have, a minute or 2 minutes of really helpful topics that of course you're going to encounter every day, like how to best prepare for a meeting or handling a difficult conversation, things of that nature, that this gives you some immediate action steps or tidbits or ways to bring mindfulness into that particular issue or challenge or moment, that I think is really helpful. And the actual mindfulness exercises I found really helpful too. I like the mindful eating one. That was something I hadn't thought about before. And I can't say that I'm doing it for, every day, but I am much more, it does pop into my head quite frequently.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to quickly eat between meetings or something to say,
Yeah.
no, this is,
Yeah.
I have a few minutes. Let me really take this time to focus and think. So I do find having those handy can be really, really helpful to guide you in those few moments that you can take to pause during the day.
Absolutely. So I like what you're bringing up, because the whole idea that's been also the almost like the theme during our time together is, how can you take things that you're already doing and bring more presence into that moment? So actually, like, just taking the time to eat and and nourish yourself. And so we eat every day, we drink every day. The mindful walking that I know that you do as well. We walk to get ourselves a glass of water. So there's lots of opportunities to practice mindfulness in what you named as micro moments, and I'm now using it more and more. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that's something I've definitely brought or carried with me or through this coaching experience. I love to walk, and using that as a time, whether it's walking to work, walking to get water, walking to go get something, to say, look, how can I turn this micro moment into something that's going to benefit me and everyone I'm going to be interacting with throughout the day, just to take a minute or two to sort of reconnect and take some deep breaths. If I'm walking with my daughter and she's in the stroller, and just saying, okay, this will be my moment, taking advantage of those moments throughout the day can be really life-changing.
So we're going to finish this conversation. But one thing I wanted to also put out there is, the gratitude and the acknowledgement that we've partnered together, Audrey and I, because she's been very courageous. You've been very courageous, Audrey. A lot of these things, have been uncomfortable for you. The boundaries, if somebody wants you to fix something and fix it now, saying to them, let's have a conversation and talk about it together. And so there've been things that you've pushed through, and this is something that's part of our partnership, because for you to receive this value comes from the fact that you've showed up fully. You've been willing to experiment. You've been super courageous, and you've been open. And so that's why I think you're such a great leader, because of all these and many more qualities.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all of your help
Yeah.
and support. It's been a great partnership.
Yeah. So, so thank you so much. And anything else you want to say to anybody that's listening before I stop the recording?
I would say, if you stumbled upon Samantha, whatever led you to her, to follow through. You won't regret it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.